Welcome to the Theater of Others podcast. My name is Adam Marple, and I'm the co-artistic director of the Theater of Others. With the COVID-19 pandemic forcing a shutdown and reevaluation of space and gathering, we at the Theater of Others are thinking about what stories we need and how best we can share them. We believe space is psychology, and it informs the way in which an audience interacts and reacts to what is presented to them. We create uniquely theatrical events in bespoke sensory performance spaces crafted to encourage curiosity and grant the audience permission to commune with the play. Now that space has moved online, how can we encourage interaction and action amongst an audience virtually? The Theater of Others produces plays that both welcome and challenge the audience. We are committed to international collaboration and are a laboratory that helps artists grow through intensive study of their craft. The Theater of Others creates a shared community of artists and audiences for the purpose of exploring the most profound issues of our lives and times. We believe the play watches the audience. The audience is necessary, and they are witness to what happens. And you get to be witness to us making that happen. The purpose of this podcast is to open up our process and let you in. We're peeling back the curtain, so to speak, and encouraging you to follow along, to ponder, prod, and question, to join us and criticize us if need be. Being a witness is no passive task, and it requires much from you. Are you up for the journey? On the podcast today from Melbourne, Australia, our co-artistic directors Budi Miller and myself in Cairo, Egypt. This podcast contains explicit language.
Hi, Adam.
Hi, Budi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How you going?
I'm a 5.
You're a 5?
I'm a 5.
I'm an 8 out of 10.
Great.
And I spilled water all over my shirt, so now I look like a sloppy hot mess.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I get for teasing you in the morning.
Don't lie. You were eating a hot dog. That's a mustard stain. Don't lie to the listeners.
No. You witnessed it. I was teasing you and making fun of you, and you used your powers to make me spill all over myself.
Yeah, that's what I did.
I've done told you about using your powers for bad.
Yep, that's what I did.
Yes, it's what you did. You distracted me with your beauty.
Mm-hmm.
And I spilt all over myself. What do you mean, yip? Don't be yipping me, buddy. Mr. well, you're a cowboy now because you're in the South.
I am in the South. That's right. Yes, I am in Georgia.
How is it?
It's a little warm in the United States. Are you going through a heat wave in Maine right now?
Girl, no.
Thank goodness, because good Lord. I thought, Egypt is hot, of course, obviously. But the humidity here, yikes. And I know I sound like an old man talking about the weather, but we are a company that talks about sustainable theater and the environment and things like that. And 2024 will be the hottest year on record, which just beats 2023, which was the hottest year on record, which just beats 2022, which is the hottest year on record. I saw a meme that said, this is the hottest summer of my life. And then it says, no, this is the coldest summer for the rest of your life.
Oh,
and
my God.
It just hit really, really hard. It's, people are fucking passing out left, right, and center here in the United States. People are dying on the Hajj. Yeah, this is welcome to the reality of what we're going to have. And I work out outside, so I have to do it super early in the morning. Otherwise I pass out. So yeah.
Well, it's in Maine here. It's rainy, and we'll have maybe 1 or 2 days that were kind of warm, but the barn is always cool.
We have to go to the temperate climes of the north. We have to get on a boat and get to Scandinavia.
We've been having such a good time here in Maine. Oh my God. Dr. Taylor Barfield. We call him Dr. Brother Taylor Barfield. Dr. Brother. And the affinity groups that like we've been working with here have been incredible. Oh my God, the work has been amazing, Adam. It's been
Great.
so good.
That's great.
And today is the big day where we do our marathon. The advanced, the visit with the more advanced global majority artists that we work with. They're either in grad school, recently graduated from grad school, or out in the industry and are coming back to stay fit. It's their yearly return to stay fit, and we do intense scene study work with mask, um, and it's badass day today. So we work from 2 to 2.
Sounds like my Grotowski days.
hmm 2 p.m. to 2 a.m.
Yeah, we would do those. We would do 6 to 6.
Mm, mm. Well,
Those were
it's
the
theater
days.
raves, theater training rave. It's a theater rave,
Theater rave. Yeah. Yeah.
but it's amazing because everyone it's the Toxu is so strong. It's it's like mm, I can't even tell y'all how amazing it is. It's yeah, it's amazing, Adam. It's amazing. We had a really great day yesterday too. Yesterday was like the linchpin into the opening of where we're going.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's on, baby. It's on. It is so on. Theater is so important, baby. It's so important.
It is. It can be. It can be. That's for sure. Obviously, we're a little biased, but yes.
Yeah. Well, apparently, Ron DeSantis doesn't think that any kind of art is good,
Or the Russians.
or the Russians. Okay, Adam. Okay. Okay. I just segued.
Yes. Yes, you did. I
Would you
appreciate it.
like that?
I appreciate it. Yep.
Yeah, like a nice, smooth, delicate segue. Nothing
Mm-hmm.
too hard on you.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Gentle morning.
Gentle morning because you're weak.
Mm-hmm.
You're weak and I'm wet.
Okay.
I'm wet.
Tell you not to be eating those hot dogs at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Girl, no, it's water. It is water. Look at my theater of others. Look, it's faded. My theater
Look at
of
mine.
others.
I know. Mine's the
It's
same.
OG. Well, it's just time for us to get our
It's
next
it's
round
time.
in
It's
Bali.
time to go to Bali. I still have like so many of those stickers left over, so I can
So
hand them out.
you have to share them with your people.
Exactly.
I've already
But
ordered a new set.
oh, good. See, but I've got them on everything else. I've got them on my
Yes, queen.
laptops and everything. I put them on
Yes.
places that I go, stores.
Well, you are an international theater actress,
Hmm.
actress.
Scalactrus. Scalactress. I love that.
hmm
Hmm.
Yes, I do have a PhD. I'm allowed to make up words.
Yeah, if you say so.
Uh-uh.
So,
Okay,
so
so
what are we talking about?
Adam, what are we talking about today?
All right. So, two things that I shared um, that kind of, obviously just reading the newspaper, just seeing what's going on in the world, and two things kind of popped up, and you very rightly put them together in your head this morning and thought we should talk about them. The first one is Ron DeSantis vetoes all arts grants in Florida. And the second is two Russian women put on a play, then the state came for them and arrested them. And so we know there's a pernicious strain of conservatism and populism and authoritarianism that is rearing its ugly head again in the world. And the arts, why would they be free from any kind of persecution? Um, and sometimes that persecution is legal, and sometimes that persecution is financial. And so these two stories, which are, Florida and Russia, United States and Russia, um, shouldn't necessarily be thought of at the same time, but in this case, they really are, because the arts always seem to speak truth to power and show a society, a contemporary society, where they are. And the state is usually afraid of that. And so, whether legally or financially, this is where the situation is.
It's but Adam, why Adam? Why do we have to still deal with like? I mean, it's like it's so basic. It's such a, it's like when you read like a because this is exactly how I've seen you do this before. You know how you read a bitch and you call her a basic bitch.
I do this all the time. Yes, this
You
is
do this all the time. You do this all the time. I've seen you do it, and I don't know why nobody has called out these basic bitches. I mean, okay, so start with let's start with America. So Ron DeSantis, what exactly did he do? So people can have a better understanding of it.
so Ron DeSantis, the
I
governor.
call him DeSantos. Ron DeSantos.
Yeah, exactly. Um, Ron DeSantis, the Florida governor and former presidential candidate. Um,
Ugh.
yeah. Uh, so the budget of the, let me find the exact number because this number was staggering. So the Florida legislature, which again is a conservative Republican Florida legislature, like, so there's no like squishy liberals on there going, let's fund the arts, recommended $77 million in grants. Lawmakers included an additional $32 million in the state budget, 26 million in operational grants and 6 million in capital grants in their budget. Um, this was passed by the state legislature, majority conservative, and Ron DeSantis just vetoed all of that, sent it back and said, "Send me another budget without that." Um,
What?
yeah,
Like completely removing the arts.
and I'm looking for it, and nothing there's nothing from him saying why. There's no.
Oh my God.
Sorry, there's something. Uh, his office said in a statement that he made veto decisions that are in the best interests of the state of Florida. That's the only thing he said about it. So this, I mean, and these are like, it's not just, when you think of arts funding, it's not just state operas and the big theater companies. It's also the little things as well. It's the community theater of Sarasota. It's a gallery in Tampa Bay. It's all the little things. And especially, we have to think about this. It's still, even 4 years after COVID, there are still people that are still trying to recoup, stay open, keep things afloat, pay off whatever debts that are going on there. So as I said, capital, which is raising money to build buildings, but also infrastructural, which means keeping people there, campaigns to bring in people, um, you know, paying artists. Those are all part of those things. So Florida zeroed that out. There will be no arts funding 2024-2025 budget.
I'm speechless.
I'm not. I'm not surprised. I mean, I saw this and I was like, "What, really?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, of course, that makes sense."
This is like killing bees.
Yeah, but people don't kill bees, kill the entire hive of bees. They kill one bee at a time, doing one little thing, and then all of a sudden the bees are gone and go, "What happened to the bees?"
This is painful. The reason why it's so painful for me is that one person can do that much damage to so many people.
Yeah.
One person. Is that
And
democracy?
well, the people voted him in. The people voted in that legislature. If they don't want the arts, then it's not, they don't want the arts. They don't want, they want those people. Those people are showing what they want. They could vote them out.
When is he up for re-election?
Oh God, I think he's, I think he's in his second term. Is he in his second term? Oh, God, I can't remember.
How long do governors reign?
I think 8 years. I think there are some states that are a little bit different, but I think he's 8 years. I think he was elected. He was elected, I think, the same time that Trump was elected. So he should be coming up on the end of his 8 years. Let me just double check this because
Oh my God. Y'all need to vote him out. Oh my God. If you're listening in Florida, I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm so sorry. Oh my God, Adam, that's just evil.
yeah,
He was
but
already evil with the whole banning drag thing. Like he was already evil with the whole bathrooms thing. But now he's like resident evil.
he's in office until January 27.
Oh my God.
But the next governor will be a Republican as well. The governor before him was a Republican. This is what Florida is. So Florida has decided they don't want arts. They don't really want Disney. They don't want drag. They don't want not stifling, killing summers. And yet people are still flocking there. People are still moving there.
God.
I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and they were actually talking about Texas, and they were saying, all the ridiculous things that the Texas governor is doing, and abortion and guns, and this Louisiana put the Ten Commandments in elementary school classrooms
Yeah, I
thing that
saw
just
that. I
happened.
saw
So
that.
they're going to be repeating that as well. So all those things that Texas is leading the way in a lot of these things, and also then picking them up as well. And so somebody was saying like, what are the metrics? Like, why would people want to move to Texas? Like, what is it about Texas that people are coming for? And then the person said, it's like, well, I can tell you one metric that we can continue to look at, which is the moving rate. Texas is still growing in size because it's one of the fastest growing states. It is the fastest growing state in the United States. People are moving to Texas. The second fastest growing state is Florida. So people are moving there. People want this. They want to go there. They want to be there. They want whatever Texas and Florida are selling. You know what state is actually losing population? California. Yeah.
Is the South trying to rise again, Adam?
Well, it depends what South you're talking about. Nobody's going to Mississippi. Nobody wants to live in Mississippi. Nobody wants to live in Mississippi with its last place literacy rate, last place child mortality rate, last place women's health rate. Georgia and Atlanta, which is a weird outlier, is growing. It's a economic powerhouse and a cultural powerhouse, and is not along the same lines as Florida and South Carolina. But yeah, it's people are leaving. People are leaving places and they're coming to other places and they're voting with their feet. And it's a weird vote. It's a weird vote. I don't know what it is.
Wow, we are living in some very, very dark times, Adam Marpole.
Indeed, we
The
are.
art, they're destroying theater, they're destroying the arts. That's the dark ages, man. Fucking hell. Oh my God. But see, look, this okay. So everyone that's listening, I don't want you to go into suffering over this.
It's been a
It's
little depressing. 20 minutes of depression here.
Don't go into suffering over this. Don't go into suffering because this is the other thing. It's like um, this is what we've been dealing with this the past 2 weeks here at the barn, and looking at the difference between hurt and suffering.
Mm. Hmm.
And as artists, um, why is this really important for us? Because hurt is hurt, right? You stub your toe, it hurts.
Hmm.
Suffering is you stub your toe, it hurts, and then you complain about the hurt all day long. And then you shouldn't have bought that table because last time you know you should have bought that table, and now it's coming back to sting your toe, and then you suffer all day long.
Mm.
And suffering can only exist with a story. Hurt is hurt. It's a sensation. It's what's happening with the body. You deal with the hurt. You deal with the pain. And so when we're talking about suffering, we're talking about, we go from transactions of desire, one transaction of desire to another transaction of desire to another transaction of desire. And so what I'm going to offer the listeners is this is really fucked up, and I'm hurt by this. I'm hurt by all these things that we're going to be talking about, but I'm not going to let I'm not going to let myself suffer throughout the day because of things I don't have any control over. I don't have any control over what happens in Florida. I don't. I don't have any control over what's happening in Russia. I don't. So when I read the articles, I got hurt by it, and it's not that I moved on. What I'm doing is I'm now doing a podcast about it, but I'm not in suffering over it.
I like that. I really like that because suffering is is an internal thing, right? I mean, like it's you going over that story and you talking about how this thing hurt me. Whereas
Mm,
hurt can be external. Hurt can be turned into action. Suffering is inaction, even though it feels like action because you're just going over that story again and again and again. So as an artist, that suffering artist thing, that
hmm
horrible myth that I want to break of a suffering artist. No,
hmm
be a hurt artist. Make work from being hurt. All work should be there should be a hurt that you're trying to address, right? Like what do you or hurt or hope, right? Maybe let me think about that.
Well, uh, hope is another road to suffering. Just deal with the hurt.
Well, if you have hope of something, it is because something is not there, something is not fixed. So there's a hurt that's going on. So we're all okay.
But what
This
happens with hope, Adam? But what happens with hope is that it becomes suffering because you're trying to keep hope alive. So just throw hope out the window and deal with the pain and be action driven.
did you just say throw hope out the window?
Throw it out the window, girl.
Are you are you stomping on hope?
Girl, I'm not putting any energy in hope. I'm putting energy in looking at the facts because oftentimes what happens is hope can prevent us from actually looking at what the actual challenge is. Well, I
Oh, I don't.
hope, I hope, I
Oh,
hope,
I
I
don't.
hope we get there.
Oh, I don't mean the inactive form of hope that the world has. Oh, I hope things get better in Palestine. I don't. I don't mean that. I mean that word hope has changed etymologically from uh, the yeah. It is a completely inactive. My thoughts and prayers are with you. Cool, great. Could you actually do something? I'm talking about the maybe hope's not the word. It's
Loving kindness.
John Lewis had this. Let me see if I can find this quote really quickly. John Lewis, civil rights leader from Georgia. Um,
Mm, me love us some John Lewis.
Outrage and optimism.
Okay.
It's this beautiful. Where's it at? Because I was here we go. I have always believed there is room for both outrage and anger, optimism and love.
I believe
That
in that.
the yeah. So hope's not in that word. So optimism,
No, it's not.
optimism, outrage and optimism, hurt. From a place of hurt, he spent his entire life working towards something, saw great strides until his day he died. He was still working on these great strides, led with outrage. and optimism. The moral arc of justice is long, but it bends towards justice.
Can we get a definition on outrage?
All right.
What does not Miriam? Ask because Miriam, she be giving me problems.
Miriam. So Cambridge. Should I do Cambridge?
No, not Cambridge, Oxford.
Definition. Didn't I try this last time in Oxford? Now you have to pay for it.
Oh shit, is it true?
Hold on. No, whatever. Oxford Learners Dictionaries, whatever. All right. Um, a strong feeling of shock and anger. An act or event that is violent, cruel, or very wrong, and that shocks people to make them very angry.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, I like the sense of shock because shock is quick.
Mm-hmm.
Shock, you can't sustain shock.
It's true.
So because you
It's
can't,
arresting. It stops you. You can't.
right,
You can't keep moving past. Shock stops you, so you're stopped. There you go.
right,
Shock, which can't continue. Yes.
and that it's very difficult, if not, I would say even impossible, to sustain shock, which is what happens in suffering. It sustains itself. It
Yeah.
feeds itself.
Yeah. Anger can be channeled.
Anger can be channeled, and also it also can be trapped inside of a story and
It can be.
suppression of anger and suffering. So I like the sense of shock because it's immediate. Because that's what happens when you stub your toe. There's a shock, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's an immediate like jolt and outrage and hurt working together. I think is fantastic, a fantastic catalyst for art,
Yes.
specifically for theater.
Yes. I I mean, I think I've said this before in the podcast, and I have a real difficulty when I go to see a play or anything, and I and there's no sense of this was made from hurt or outrage or optimism of like, what are you what are you trying to achieve with this? What's the why behind this? Why do this? And so many times it is just, entertainment. And I go, good God, what a waste of money. And I question a lot of times, why are you doing this? Like, what is it you wanted to say? Florida's governor just vetoed all arts funding. What are you as an artist trying to say?
Hmm. And how are you going to respond to it?
Yeah. No, you don't have to respond to Florida's legislature. I'm not talking about that, but literally, like, it's the thing that we always talk, like, we get this question a lot of times, like, why is this political?
But see, I think you do have to respond to it. If you're a Florida artist, I think you do have to respond to it.
Well, here's the question. Do you respond to it, or do you respond by making the music louder? As,
Yes, I think you make the music louder. Exactly.
yeah, as
You
was
turn up the volume. You
as
turn
when
the volume up.
and then you act Anne's book, he talks about Leonard Bernstein talks about the artist's response to these times, to war, is to make the music louder. It's not necessarily to respond to Governor DeSantis. It is to get out there and make your art louder, brighter, more whatever. But instead of going like, well, my response to Governor DeSantis is to do arsenic on old lace.
Ah,
That's what I'm saying. It's like,
Mortimer, you bringing Mortimer into this?
well, that's what I'm saying. Is it's like, it's the choice. Why? What are you choosing to do? Why are you choosing to do it? What are you saying? All art is political.
Yes.
So, what are you choosing to say? It's like you get to go out and campaign for something.
But see, this feels like Tipper Gore and Dina Rohrabacher. It feels like the '80s where they were trying, like, censoring art. It's like I feel like where are our Karen Finleys? our Maplethorpes? Where are they? How are they responding to this?
But I'm going to push back on this. I'm going to be devil's advocate because I like doing this. I
You
think
devil, you.
I think Tipper Gore did more for the promotion of hip hop and rap than Karen Finley and Maplethorpe did for the promotion of avant-garde art.
So you're saying now Ron DeSantis is gonna open up more?
I think as artists, if we had an easy path to um, audiences who want to and funding, and I think that art would get sloppy. I think it would get
Mm,
lazy. I think that the artist has to be a contrarian, has to be has to be the fool to the king, and its purpose in society is to expose the other,
yeah.
and society's not ready for that all the time. So Tipper Gore folks who were not alive in the 80s when Tipper Gore was who have no clue what we're talking about with these artists.
Don't worry, it's gonna be in the show notes, Jack.
So Tipper Gore wanted to get rid of hardcore rap and R&B and put those labels on CDs, those old
Mm-hmm.
things that existed, so that gangster rap wasn't exposed to children. But because it was made as such a big case, obviously hip hop is the dominant art form in the world. Thank
Mm-hmm.
you, Tipper Gore. So this thing
It wasn't
was
Tipper Gore.
it wasn't.
It
I mean,
was
it
it was
wasn't Tipper Gore.
NWA.
It was a bunch of black and brown artists who were working their asses off to tell their stories. Absolutely, absolutely. But it also became more attractive because it became countercultural to everybody, because the government said, we don't want you to have this. And then people went, ooh, why don't they want me to have this thing?
Mm-hmm.
Why are they trying to ban Toni Morrison's books?
Ugh,
I want to read some Toni Morrison. You know,
yeah.
so in a way, I mean, obviously, I wish these arts organizations in Florida weren't being zeroed out, but in a way, what is he trying to keep from us? What is he afraid
Mm-hmm.
of?
Mm-hmm.
There'll be dozens and dozens of arts organizations that will just go under. They'll disappear, and
Yeah.
it's incredibly sad.
Yeah. It's a
But
slaughter. It's a slaughter.
yeah, but artists are plucky, and they'll figure out something, and they'll continue to work. And is we should talk about the Russia case, because
Well,
this is
this
the
is
same
because
thing.
I'm thinking I was thinking the same thing because it's like in in Russia they call the theater the second parliament.
Yeah, and I want to see this play now. I didn't
Oh
know
my
about this
God.
play. I didn't know
The,
about this
the
play.
the photos look horrible, but like I want to see it. It looks like community theater.
Yeah, I mean, it probably. Well, here's the thing: is like this was they had already done a production of it, a professional production of it, and I think it really kind of was a community theater that got the attention and got shut down. And so the playwright was put on trial after the fact. Like, so okay, two
Yeah, so
Russian
talk about let's talk about this. This is horrible.
two Russian women put on a play, then the state came for them. The prosecution of a prominent playwright and a director in Russia over their work is a chilling sign of increased repression, cultural figures say. So the playwright, the director, Yevgenia Burkovich, and playwright Svetlana Petrychik. Sorry about that. Uh,
Where's Christina when we need her?
yeah, exactly. So the name of the play is Finist the Brave Falcon, which is a classic Russian fairy tale that has been updated, and it's a personal tragedy of a woman who falls in love online with a radical extremist who deceives her into coming to Syria to join the Islamic State. So the idea of the play is it's not a glorification of terrorism, but it shows the traps and the perils of falling into. So it has to show how terrorism, how jihadism, how extremism can happen. And so the
Hmm.
state says these are terrorists that are glorifying and romanticizing terrorism. So yeah,
But they distinctively saying that the whole play was based on anti-terrorism. The
right.
whole reason why they're doing the play is for anti-terrorism.
Yeah, it's a prophylactic. You can't go on stage and say don't join ISIS. It's bad because no one will go to your play and no one will listen anyway. But when they show what happens to people, well, answer this trap of recruiters. Everything is clear. It's a very straightforward play, a play that cannot be an object of a crime because it is a work of fiction, as all plays are.
Yeah.
Um, I staged the performance to prevent terrorism. It's nothing but condemnation and disgust toward terrorists. Um, yeah, exactly. But because these two artists were a little outspoken on their
On the
um,
Ukraine.
on Ukraine, yeah, that's what happens. So yeah, again, the state feels, a little threatened, a little. Mm, People are looking at these other things. People are not listening to what I say. They're thinking for themselves. Best to get rid of people who are in power that can have other thoughts.
Girl. Girl. Girl.
Well, I mean, we weren't going to Russia
Girl.
any. We weren't going to Russia anytime soon
No,
anyway.
but I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I'm just, Adam. Okay, so I get, there are very rare moments where I become speechless. As you know,
Mm-hmm.
Mama got an opinion about everything,
Mm-hmm.
everything.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I just, people don't even. First of all, people don't even go to the theater.
Well, they do in Russia still.
Okay, they do in Russia. Okay, they do. They do in Russia. But do they go to theater in the way that they used to in the olden days?
No, of course they don't. Of course they don't. They have many other options, and so they'll do that. It's just again, it's so much easier to stay at home and watch Netflix.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, do they even get Netflix in Russia?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I'm just saying because all of the anti-Americanism. So I don't know.
Well, I just want to read this because this isn't my favorite part of the thing, but it's one of the things that I laughed when I saw this. In April, just before the trial began, both women were added to Russia's official list of terrorists and extremists, freezing their bank accounts. This list includes the Islamic State, Al Qaeda, the Taliban, political opposition figures such as the late Alexei Navalny, the international LGBT movement, and Facebook's parent company, Meta. Yep.
Wait.
Yeah, you heard that right.
So Meta is our terrorists. Who else?
Hmm.
And
The international LGBTQ movement, the
our
movement
terrorists.
are terrorists. Taliban, Islamic State, Alexei Navalny, who died in prison
Who was
being an
poisoned?
opposition, who was poisoned, exactly, several times. Yeah,
That's terrorism.
according to Russia,
Okay,
yes.
so now according to Russia, so now we have some issues
And the
with
and these playwrights
translation.
and these
So
playwrights.
what does so we have to ask Christina Pakamova, like, what does terrorism? How does terrorism translate in Russian? Because I don't think that's how we use the word terrorism or anywhere else in the world.
I was listening to a pod. I listen to so many podcasts. I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and it was talking about how every Friday, Russia releases a list of foreign agents, and to be like, so there's this journalist, New York Times journalist, comes Evan Gershkovich, who is being held as a foreign agent, and what a foreign agent means is that you are CIA is basically what it means. Like if we were to say you're a foreign agent here, it basically means you work for a foreign government. You could work at an embassy, you could work for a state-run company, things like that. But in Russia, if you're a foreign agent, they're basically saying you're CIA, and you could be rounded up and put in jail. So every Friday, Russia puts out a list of foreign agents, which is a way of saying get out of the country as quickly as you can. And they have several lists of like of like you move from this list to this list to this list before you're actually labeled a foreign agent. And they can freeze your bank account. They can take your, they can not let you leave the country. They can then round you up. How many foreign agents does this country think it has that every Friday it has to release a new list? They're just adding people left, right, and center. It's, because if you have said anything, posted anything, expressed any opinion about Ukraine or Putin or Chechnya or anything that's just anything, LGBTQ, Alexei
Well, they're
Navalny,
terrorists. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
you're a terrorist. Yeah.
If you're queer, you're a terrorist.
Maybe not if you're queer, but if you've ever expressed any opinion about being queer. It's the movement.
Wow. Wow. Well, we were talking about Iran here. Shadi's here. She
Oh,
sends her
nice.
love.
Nice.
And we're talking, and apparently in Iran, it's by death. The homosexuality is by death, but transgender is not. So if you are if you transition to another uh, uh, gender, it's not against Islam.
How does that work?
Yeah, it's not about the actions. It's about the physical biology.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, uh, LGBTQ people transition to a different gender. Unfortunately, you will have to wear the hijab. But
Well, the whole thing is that like I mean, like the one we you know how we feel about death by gay, but like
wait, no, not death by gay. Like we're not going to gay you
death
to
too
death.
gay, death too gay, death too gay.
Could you imagine? How would you like to die? Hanging, the guillotine, firing
Or
squad, or
fisting.
gay? Or gay? I would like death by gay, please.
Prolapse. I take prolapse. Thank you.
Death by gay. Good lord.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. So that's a thing. It's a thing. And when it comes to like when it comes to like freedom of, because it's the thing. It's like, so isn't art intrinsic to freedom of speech? Just by making art, it's a form of communication. Even if it's even if it's in the realm of, okay, so here's my question. So if we're dealing with, so if we're saying to make art is a form of freedom of speech and politics, right?
Mhm.
So propagandic art, can you still have freedom within propagandic art?
I did a production of when I was doing children's theater way back in the day. They wanted me to do a production of Little Red Riding Hood. Yikes! Um, I found I found a children's play written by a Soviet artist called Little Red. So I love this, and it was absolutely um, to get past the censorship. It hid inside the fact of this Little Red Riding Hood. You know basically the story of Little Red Riding Hood. Well,
Hmm.
the animals rose up to to challenge Little Red Riding Hood coming in and stealing whatever. I can't remember the story anymore. Little Red Riding Hood, but it's so yes. Every country that has censorship finds ways through and around censorship, usually with fairy tales, with
Hmm.
myth, which is kind of what this play was. Like I said, this play, Finis the Falcon, is based on um, what is it called? Here it is. Classic Russian fairy tales. And that's a long tradition of getting through censorship and using propaganda because, again, most arts administrators for the government are not creative people themselves, so they can't see it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
you can, But if it is state propaganda, like I'm not sure that the North Korean parades are, teaching anybody anything about freedom of speech or
Yeah,
artistic
right,
expression.
exactly. There's that whole choreography. My God,
Choreography.
my brain, y'all. It's still early in the morning, and I'm making art. I've got a dumb art brain. The choreography of what is it? That big thing that they do is like the big.
Big mass showing. Yeah. Yeah.
And what happens if you mess up?
Well, goodbye.
Really?
Probably. Or your family, goodbye.
Oh
Gen-
God.
genetically, goodbye. You and
Oh my
all you.
God.
I don't know. This is just what instinct it is. Who knows? Who knows?
Adam. Oh my God.
Anyway, so you prompted something that I want to talk about a little bit. That I just was talking with Stephen Galtney about this. Next year is the 250th birthday of the United States, and I talked to Stephen about, should we do something not in celebration of the birthday, but in a reaction to 250 years, not what it could be or what it was, what it is, to recognize through different voices, not just our voices, but a lot of voices, what it is and what is wrong and what we still strive for, because there's going to be so many celebrations that are going to be jingoistic and patriotic and propagandic next year. I think it'd be interesting for us to kind of go, here's what is, because the majority of this company, even though we do live overseas, is still American, has an American
Mm.
ethos, an American aesthetic, and we are on here talking about Florida. Um, I think we have to have a response. And his worry, his concern, rightly so, was, I don't want to propagandize. I don't want to celebrate. I said, no, no, no. I'm not looking to celebrate it either. I'm looking for a reaction to what is. What is the black, brown, queer, women, even conservative story of America right now? All that mix of just like, it doesn't gel, and like that melting pot, quote unquote, melting pot of America is what America is right now. It's fucked up. That's what it is right now. It's still the place where the majority of the world wants to move to. It's what it is. What is that story at 250 years? What is that story? I'm kind of interested in exploring what that is. I don't know.
Uh, I'm on board for that.
So we just have to convince Steven because he's still on the fence.
Oh, is he on the fence?
He's very on the fence. I think he heard celebrate. I think I said we had to celebrate the 250th birthday, and he heard that, and I had to clarify very quickly. No, 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 no. I don't want to celebrate. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that word. I want to recognize where we are, where we not where we want to be, because that's what a lot of things next year I think are going to be. The hope and desire of America.
What
No.
should the provocation be that it needs to be banned by DeSanto?
Yeah, I think we should. I
And can't be
actually
played in Russia?
I think it should piss off everybody.
Yeah.
I don't think it should please anybody. I think it should challenge everybody. I mean, like I was saying, it's like it should be multiple playwrights. Like next, like it shouldn't just be him writing it. He doesn't want to write it anyway. But him
Mm.
like overseeing it as a dramaturg. Like we should find playwrights that want to tell um, the African American story. Somebody that wants to tell the woman's story. Somebody that should tell the, whatever the pockets of communities that are not being represented or told or overtold. We should have a conservative story in there as well because it exists. We don't have to agree with it, and it's not about platforming it either, but it's about saying like, well, are we only going to tell the stories that we agree with and recognize those things, because my parents and Steven's parents and a lot of people's parents and a lot of people that maybe even listen have certain views. I'm not talking like fucking MAGA Republican, the world is flat views, but like, how do you live with somebody? How do you live in a society with people that, just you agree with 40% of the time? I think it could be a really cool big project. It could just be something that, could be nothing.
Well,
Who knows?
what about your book America? Could that be like the the spine of
Book
engagement?
what?
Isn't there a book America that you wanted to do a play on? It's called America.
John Dos Passos. Yeah, that could be interesting.
As the spine, and then we can interact with it with the world today.
USA Trilogy. That's the name of it. Yeah, that could be really interesting because it is. It's almost like a journalistic. Folks, if you go and read USA Trilogy, it was written in, God, when was this written? It's such
Who's
a
who's the author?
John Dos Passos,
Spell Dos
um,
Passos. John, is
1930
it Jon or John?
John Dos Passos, 3 words. Written in 1937, and it's a crazy book for that time period. It's so avant-garde and so weirdly, like, you read it and you go, "Wait a minute, what? This is it's not a novel. It's
It's called
almost
USA.
the USA Trilogy." And it's, again, it's 3 books. It's 42nd Parallel, the 1919, and The Big Money. And it's almost like, imagine you were flipping channels on TV and just writing down what you saw when you were flipping those channels. But through it,
Oh,
there's a big meta narrative that you can put together. But it is difficult. I'll say it's difficult to read. But as an
it's
idea,
big though. It's a big book.
oh, it's enormous. It's huge. That could be a really good idea. That could be a really good idea.
Hmm. Hmm.
Anyway,
Hmm. You've heard it here first, y'all. We're bringing
maybe,
you the USA next year.
maybe if
All
if
the more
Steven
reason
stays
for
home,
Stephen Galding to listen to the podcast because he stopped listening to us. So now he doesn't know.
it's true. He won't know about this until
We lost our most important listener. He stopped listening to us, everyone. I don't know why he stopped listening to us, but he stopped listening to us. He stopped giving us provocations. He stopped responding to our podcasts. Just he's too busy for us.
It's true. He doesn't like us anymore.
He does not like us anymore. And
Calling
that
out Steven.
saddens me.
Yeah, you know what? He'll listen to this 3 months from now and be like, guys.
Oh, Adam, I think we should take a break and then come back with some provocations. What do you think?
Absolutely. You got a heart out.
Yeah, I like it hard in and I like it hard out. Okay. Oh, ladies and gentlemen and non-binary conforming individuals, you are listening to the stereo sounds of JDB, Jack David Burmester. And we're back. We're back. We're back. Oh, Jack, come on. That was a fantastic song.
Hmm. Very
Oh, I needed
jingoistic.
that.
Very
Yeah, I needed
jingoistic.
that. Yes, I needed that. I needed that.
Hmm.
So, Adam, we're at
Hmm.
provocations.
We are.
Do you have any provocations?
Yeah, artists. What are you trying to say? What are you attempting? What are you tempting? Um, and it doesn't have to be a propagandist. It doesn't have to be agitprop, but like, really, what are you trying to say? When you're writing a play, when you're putting on a play, when you're choosing a play to be in, what is it that you're saying? What is your voice? What are you putting your entire body, soul, and voice behind to stand on a hilltop and scream?
Mm.
And if you don't know what that is, if you don't have that answer for yourself before you start that project, then pause and take that time to do it, or back away. And I know this is a very privileged way of, I get it, of saying don't do that thing, don't take that Doritos commercial. But what is what is your
Don't take
statement?
that. Don't take that Doritos commercial.
No, I understand. There's health insurance,
Mm.
but there's also your artistic voice. What is your artistic voice? And it's something that you have to develop, something you have to think about. Like, are it could be that the project is what's speaking for it, or it could be the people that you're working with are who you're speaking for. Like, as you said, global majority. Now, you could be doing who knows what play, but if you've chosen that every single person in that play is of the global majority, that's a political statement.
Yeah.
You happen to be doing a play that is both of those things at the same time, but sometimes you got to do a what is it? What is the Dickens the
The uh uh yeah,
I
that one.
forgot it. Christmas. What is it?
Story. Christmas Carol.
The Christmas Carol. Sometimes you got to do a Christmas Carol, but it's a political statement to do a
I
Christmas
want to see a
Carol.
Christmas Carol with a political statement.
Well, it'd be a political statement to have an all black and brown cast, wouldn't it?
It would be.
So
It would
again,
be.
you don't have to go and like find I'm gonna do plays all about women's right to choose. No, you don't have to do that. You don't have to choose a political thing and dedicate your life to that thing. You can, but what are you saying with your work? What are you saying? And if what you're saying is really, I want the audience to have a good time tonight, let the other companies do that. They're doing it better, and it'll save you the time, the money, and the effort to do something else. Go do that thing.
I want to add on to this, and I want to add on to it with, because I still like this word outrage,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to adjust. I want to adjust I want to. I want to look at like, can you make work that deals with hurt, outrage, and enthusiasm?
Yes, thank you.
Can you make work that deals with hurt, outrage, and enthusiasm? How can those three words interact with the work that you're doing?
Mm-hmm.
Is this because I feel like it feels like it's impossible to combine those three things and suffer.
Mm.
I just feel, I think the enthusiasm for me is what keeps it moving forward. So, Adam, what does the dictionary say about the word enthusiasm? I think I need a real clear definition of enthusiasm to make sure that I'm using the right word.
Well, we know etymologically what it means, but let's see what Oxford says enthusiasm is. A strong feeling of excitement and interest in something and a desire to become involved in it.
Yeah, there we go. That's it. Hurt, outrage, and enthusiasm.
Excitement and interest in something and a desire to become involved in it. Yeah, I think that last part is the most important part. A desire to become involved in it. That's the action forward, right? You can't suffer and have enthusiasm at the same time, because suffering keeps you still. The shock stops you, and then you sit there and you dwell on it. But
Mm.
enthusiasm, become involved in it, move forward with it.
And we're looking at desire as because desire is one of the things that brings us into suffering, but desire also brings us into awakening. Desire takes you to the truth. Okay, so there's my provocation. Adam Marple, how will we know that these people listening to us have done this?
They're going to go to speakpipe.com/theater of others. And speakpipe.com/theaterbrothers, theater with an R-E, Theater Brothers, all one word. Leave a 90-second voice message on there. We would love to hear what your political statement is as an artist. We would love to hear the work that you're reaching for and searching for and shouting from the hilltops. But if you don't want to leave God, I hope that's not what your political statement is. But if you don't want to leave a 90-second voice message on speakpipe.com/Theater Brothers, you can send an email to podcast@Theater Brothers. You can send it. We're on Facebook, WhatsApp, our website, Instagram.
We're on the gram, y'all.
Yeah. And the only way you're going to know about these topics, these questions that we have, and these upcoming interviews that we've got going on is if they do what, Budi?
Subscribe. We have some amazing people coming in the interview. Y'all need to subscribe so you can be in the know because we come to your inbox week. That's week. For how many years, Adam Marple?
4 years, 5 seasons, 200 and something episodes. 230
and you better do.
Episodes.
And you better do. And if you like us, you just do like my Uber driver does. Give us 5 stars. You give me 5 stars. I give you 5 stars. You give me 5 stars. I give you 5 stars. It's a win-win, 0-all game win for everyone on the party, on the block, in town, on the links and the sites and things. And if you really like us, you can leave us a little comment. You can say, oh my God, I wanted to give them 5.1 stars, but I can't because they're so amazing. And then what happens is it goes into the algorithm and it goes, all of a sudden, you know what happens, Adam? We go from the top 5% podcast in the world to the top 1% podcast in the world, in the world. And you know what happens when you know what's going to happen when that happens, Adam Marple. You know that, right? Who's coming on the show? Oprah, exactly. Oprah's coming on the show, y'all. Oprah. And when we get Oprah, you know who's coming after Oprah? The Virgo. Beyonce. Exactly. And then, you know, when Beyonce comes, who comes after Beyonce?
Michelle
Obama, exactly. So how can you not support Black women?
Why are you being racist, audience?
You know, if you don't subscribe, you're clearly a racist. Racist and sexist. If you do not subscribe, if you don't want to be labeled as a racist and a sexist, right now, click subscribe, give us 5 stars, leave us a comment, and we'll be in your inbox week.
I mean, I'm not calling you racist or sexist or misogynistic. Your actions are proving that you're racist.
Hello.
Sexist and misogynist.
Hello. So. It's all about the hurt, the outrage, and the enthusiasm. Okay? That's all I got to say. That is all Mama has got to say. Oh, I love you, Adam.
I love you too.
Happy morning.
I'm going to work out now. Have a great time at the barn.
Yes, it is. It's marathon day, everyone. Marathon day.
Woo.
And for all y'all, we're going to be in your inbox next week. Bye!
Thanks for joining us this week on the Theater Brothers podcast. Make sure to visit our website, theaterbrothers.org, where you can subscribe to the show in iTunes, Stitcher, or via RSS, so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes. Or if you'd simply tell a friend about the show, that would help us out too. A special thank you to Purple Planet for the music you've heard. The Theater Brothers creates a shared community of artists and audiences for the purposes of exploring the most profound issues of our lives and times. We believe the play watches the audience. The audience is necessary, and they are witness to what happens. And you get to be witness to us making that happen. The purpose of this podcast is to open up our process and let you in. We're peeling back the curtain, so to speak, and encouraging you to follow along, to ponder, prod, and question, to join us and criticize us if need be. Being a witness is no passive task and requires much from you. Are you up for the journey? Be sure to tune in next week for our next journey.